Hey everybody, Bryn here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be playing a Dragon Sicilian. And I would like to play it kind of just in the classical way of playing g6 after knight f6. So we're playing against bishop g5. I haven't seen this type of setup before. And part of me is thinking that there's something wrong with it. I really like this move queen to a5. I'm not sure what exactly it would do for me, though. Queen b6 doesn't look so silly either. The problem is bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, knight to d5 is kind of ruining the fun. We can take on d4, but then they can play knight to c7 check. So maybe I just play something like knight c6 and just hope for the best, that nothing bad will happen. Yeah, okay. So they end up doing that instead. And they end up playing there for some reason. I don't think this is a good way to play, though, because after they end up taking, they can take however they want. They can take there, sure. But then I end up playing something like knight to g4. And what are they doing about this pawn? Isn't this pawn falling? Okay, congratulations. But now this pawn is falling. And there's going to be a lot of consequences for losing such a valuable, beautiful, handsome, extravagant pawn. So we just gotta hope we are able to take it unless I'm missing something. What am I looking at here? What is this move? This actually doesn't look so silly, which is kind of bothering me a little bit. So if I end up taking with the bishop, then they have rook e1. What's going on? And then I can take, though. So that doesn't work, does it? So let's take with the bishop. I'm threatening knight f2, so they can't be too slow or anything. I have threats like f6 as well, and f6 then can facilitate the capture of taking on b5. I thought I fell into some crazy trap for a second, but I don't see the follow-up here. If I end up losing to something like this, then it's completely deserved, but yeah, I don't know what next for my opponent. Yeah, I don't think that's it. So if I end up just taking, bishop takes b5, congratulations, king f8, rook d8 check, and then I just go king to g7, everything's defended, right? That looks like a free piece. Let's do it. King to f8, rook d8 check, king g7. Obviously, they can win this pawn, but why would I care? It's not really a valuable pawn at all. Cool. So we'll just end up taking. And here, I'll just go bishop to e6. There's no reason to get too greedy and try to defend the e-pawn or anything. Development is kind of the name of the game at this point. Just staying practical. I like knight e3 a lot. They go here. Then we can go bishop to f4. Kind of fun. Threatening knight d5, for example. Now, maybe just knight d5. Yeah, let's go knight d5. It defends against bishop f6 check. It's also attacking the bishop. I'm looking at moves like rook to b8 at this point. I could also go knight c3 check immediately, which is kind of cool. And the idea is after pawn takes, I can go rook to b8. But I actually want to keep this pawn if I can. If I can. If I can't, then that's fine too. But I would rather play something like a6 here, I believe. There we go. Rook to b8. There's some precision needed. Some. But we're getting there, I think. Yeah, king g8. As long as we don't do something silly where there's like some sort of back rank problem. But I'm finding it difficult to see where that will be the case, which is good. Okay. And now knight b4 looks good. Attacking the bishop while also threatening things like bishop to f5 check. Do we do that first, bishop f5 check, and then knight to b4? That could be a little bit more useful. The reason why I'm saying that is because now, all of a sudden, after knight b4, there was bishop e4 from them, but now there's not. So bishop f5 check, knight b4, and I'm threatening knight c2. And the problem is, if they go bishop b4, that's fine, but I'm just going to take it anyways, and then I have moves like knight c2. And if I go bishop c2 here, am I not just winning a piece? Because the problem for them is, how do they defend here? Okay, I'll just take that. Actually, that was a good way for them to defend the piece. That's really interesting. Okay. But that's fine. I'll just go bishop c2, attack c4, threat knight c2 check as well. And I think the game is officially over. I don't think there's anything left for them to try, unfortunately. Yeah. There was a blunder in there somewhere, according to chess.com. So I would actually like to figure out where that could have been. I couldn't even guess where it might have been. Let's think for a second. This all felt natural. Bishop takes e5 was best, which is good. So this was not working out for them. C takes b5 is the best way to play. Rook d8, king g7, takes. Here, bishop e6 was fine. Knight e3 was fine. Bishop f4. Knight d5, good. Everything kind of checked out. Bishop f5 check was great. Bishop a4, bishop c2 was actually best move, which is cool. Not sure where the blunder was, unless it was like much earlier. Maybe there was actually some way to take advantage of this f4 stuff that I just didn't see here. Knight c6 is best, as well as castles. No, I'm genuinely shocked and don't understand. I'm gonna check here. Oh, the blunder goes away. Okay, 93% accuracy. Never mind. Okay. Anyways, okay. Since there was no blunder, that's good. At least I'm not going completely crazy. Now, let's quickly talk about, I think, some key defining moments of the game. Generally, these like bishop g5 and f4 lines are not the way you want to play against the dragon. One of the best ways you can play against it is by reinforcing your knight on d4, bringing a bishop to c4. You can leave it on f1 too. That's fine too. That's a completely different setup. But I'm going to talk about the Yugoslav setup and why something like bishop g5 is out of place. Now, the Yugoslav setup, when you're going for f3, g4, h4, h5, things like this, the reason why it's important to actually bring up that the bishop isn't as good here is, well, first off, d4 is a little bit less defended. So after moves like if we just continue down similar lines, you can see that all of a sudden there's some discoveries going on that are actually possible now. If we turn on the engine, knight takes e4 is actually playable. Unfortunately for white, you could play something like this as well. This is fine, but of course doesn't really change anything that black does have a totally fine position and is actually preferred here with the bishop pair. So yeah, you don't really want to do that at all. And And yeah, not only is that the case, but when you're going for these f3, g4, h4, h5 setups, sometimes what you actually want as well is the opportunity to play g5. So the bishop's just in a way, not only because, well, you know, it could have defended the knight, but because sometimes you want to play this g5 move. So keep it on these two squares. Bring it to h6 when you're attacking the king. Only when you're attacking it, though. If it's some positional thing, then it's not really a good idea just to go for the trade all the time. And then also, of course, when it's on e3, it defends the knight. Reinforcing that knight is just such a big deal for white's position. Not having them needing to waste the tempo with like knight b3 or knight e2 is a huge deal. So definitely keep that in mind. And yeah, I think that's about it for this one. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.